Okay, as promised by the magic of TV, former Detroit Mayor Dave Bing, top 50 all-time NBA player, and former automotive magnate. How are you, sir?
I am great, doing well. Health is good. That's really important.
When you were the mayor until 2014 of Detroit,
Correct.
10 years ago,
Correct.
you look better. That job must have been the worst job on the planet.
It wasn't a good job. I can tell you that. It was tough times.
Why don't we just get topical here? I want to go to your automotive experience.
Okay.
The UAW, they're out. They're asking for the moon, and if they're out for very long, what ramifications does it have for an economy that's kind of teetering anyway?
Well, unemployment is going to go sky high. I think a lot of the small and medium-sized suppliers will probably go out of business. And from the typical big three, they're going to be hurting for a long time. They can't get product out. And I think it will not only hurt the automotive industry, but there are several industries that are very dependent upon the automotive industry. I mean, you talk all of the technology that's out there now, you talk glass, you talk steel, you talk leather. I mean, there's so many different products that go into the vehicle. All of those industries are going to be hurt.
What about like market share? I was supposed to do Fox yesterday and they stood me up, but I did a little research. You know, Biden was going to stick his nose in it and come to the picket line. And I'm like, Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower during the steel strikes of the 50s, right? They brought people to the White House, but that was the beginning of the end for a lot of manufacturing in the United States because we started for the first time importing steel. So if you shut down the big three's capacity to make vehicles, do you see foreign competition coming in and taking more market share?
Yeah, I think it's a major risk. There's no doubt about it. You got so much competition from a global standpoint that all we're concerned about is what's happening in our country. But the market is global, and I'm sure that there would be quote unquote foreign companies that want to come to the U.S. because it's a very fertile market.
Flooded, maybe.
Could be. But should that be a guilt factor on those who are picketing right now and who are striking? I mean, should they carry the guilt of the peripheral impact of a strike, or should they continue to be focused on what they're asking for?
I think they're asking for too much, number one, because if they got what they're asking for, it would cripple the OEMs. And some of the major suppliers. So I think they deserve a nice bump, but not what they're asking for.
They're saying would it like add $100 an hour onto the cost of an auto worker. Do you believe that? I mean, they're asking for the moon here.
Yes, they are.
And they haven't come to the table like, all right, here's a counter. They're just, right?
Yeah. Well, they're not going to get that. I mean, I think the OEMs are smart enough that they're not going to put themselves in a death knell. And so they will keep trying to negotiate. But the problem is, I don't think Fain is listening. He hasn't been to the table personally, I understand, for quite some time. And that's not a good sign. In order for them to break through this strike, the top people have got to be at the table.
But I see the point. I see the UAW just took it up the ass since 2008. We all know. I mean, you suffered.
Yeah.
Right? You were definitely there. Yeah. And all the concessions that were made, like we can have the newer workers can work at half the price, and no more cost of living, and no more pension, and no more medical, and with inflation, I believe their wages have fallen 20% since 2008. I mean, when we're handing billions over to GM and to Ford and to Stellantis and now the Chinese, what position would you take if you were Sean Fanning? I'm not.
Oh, I think he's dug in pretty good. There's no question about that. And he's taken a hard position. And I don't think he really felt he was going to get what he was asking for. But he's going to hold out long enough that the workers themselves are going to get hurt because they can't afford to stay out for a length of time. And the suppliers are going to get hurt. I mean, everybody's going to get hurt here. And I do believe that they deserve a nice bump for what they gave up back in the 2000.
You know what I hear a lot? Charlie LeDuff newsman, I thought you were dead. I'm not dead. I'm doing the news, the real news, right here, the No BS News Hour. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook, Odyssey, or download it wherever you get your podcasts. Power the people.